July 19, 1952, the opening day ceremonies of the Helsinki Olympic Games. Almost 6,000 athletes from 59 countries pass in review. In a drizzling rain, 70,000 people watch the Parade of Nations. Paavo Nurmi, Finland's greatest runner, lights the Olympic flame. The 15th Olympiad of the modern era is now officially open. July 21st, the final of the 100-meter dash. The favorites in the race, Herb McKenley of Jamaica and McDonald Bailey of Great Britain. The main hope for the United States, Art Bragg, pulled up lame in his semi-final heat. A surprise finalist for the United States is 21-year-old Lindy Remigino, a junior at Manhattan College. He was given little chance of winning a medal. For Remigino, even being in Helsinki was a surprise.
It was for a guy like him, Remigino, at the time, because at first I didn't feel as though I had even a shot, and here I made the team. I'm a born pessimist, and I get that down in the dumps easily, especially if I'm not getting the times. But don't forget, we had some people who were pretty formidable runners at that time. Well, just before the race, Herb McKenley came into my dressing room. I was laying on a table at the time, and I was just getting my thoughts about the race, what I was going to do off the blocks and so on. Get out in front of Herb. When Herb walked in himself, and he's a very jolly fellow. He's a very, very happy-go-lucky. And he said, you know, Lindy, McDonald Bailey is ready to be had. He's so nervous. I think we got him out of the way. And he kind of perked me up because I was more or less just concentrating about my race, and in comes Herb and perks me up.
In addition to McKenley, Bailey, and Remigino, there are 3 other starters. Dean Smith of the United States, John Treloar of Australia, and Vladimir Sukharev of the Soviet Union. McKenley and Remigino are alongside each other in lanes 2 and 3. Dean Smith is in lane 4, and Bailey lane 5. It is a full race. 4 men are within inches of each other. Lindy Remigino, Dean Smith, McDonald Bailey, and Herb McKenley. There is much confusion. But for Lindy Remigino, the winner of the gold medal is Herb McKenley of Jamaica.
I think I went up and congratulated him. I said, Herb, I think you won this doggone thing. I'm not sure, but I think you won it. And I think he said something like, well, it was close, but I think I got it.
Yes, as we ran through and sort of turned around back to come back, Remigino came over and held me and says, nice going, Herb, nice going. And we came back past the judges, and they pointed to me and said, you're one. And maybe half an hour later, there was an unofficial announcement that the time on, you know, that was won by McKenley from Jamaica. And then maybe about an hour later, they announced that the official placing is being held up for the reading of the photo finish.
I think when you're all waiting, I think that 20 minutes could seem like 3 hours. And we were on the track all the time. We never left the track. And then shortly after, they called us out for our ceremony. And I remember shaking hands with Herb. I really thought he had taken victory away at that moment. I was waiting for the scoreboard to light up, and they still wouldn't go on. And a man came over, an official from the Finnish administration came up to me and said, Mr. Remigino, I think you won these titles. And then I saw it light up. I saw Remigino, USA, 10.4. And then McKenley, Jamaica, 10.4. And then Bailey, 10.4. And Smith was 10.4. And I jumped for joy. And Herb, I went over and congratulated him again, and Herb was very, very down in the dumps at that time.
When I look at the films, I still think that I won. The only time that I had any doubts is looking at the photo finish and the explanations. Because, you know, even today, there are lots of ways you can read a photo finish. And you have to be a real expert to read one that is very tight.
They brought the photo over to Herb and I, and we looked at it, and it was the closest thing I ever saw in my life. And then somebody put a T-square on it to show the shoulder that I got in just ahead of Herb. It was a very, very close victory. It was like that.
The final placings. Lindy Remigino, United States, first. Herb McKenley, Jamaica, second. McDonald Bailey, Great Britain, third. Finally, the victory platform ceremony.
I didn't break down and cry, but I felt like it, especially when they play the national anthem. Very emotional. You're an American, and you're away from home, and when it plays, it's a tremendous emotional thing.
On the final day of the track and field competition, the 4x100-meter men's relay is scheduled. The United States team is an overwhelming favorite. 3 of its members have won individual gold medals. There are 5 other teams in the race, but the United States has the fastest qualifying time. Dean Smith, in lane 2 from the inside, hands off to Harrison Dillard. Dillard, closest to the camera, moves into the lead. Because of the staggered lanes, the outside runners have started further down the track, giving the appearance of being in front. Lindy Remigino, coming into view on the right, maintains the United States lead as he hands off to Andy Stanfield for the final 100 meters. The United States first, Soviet Union second, Hungary third. Now, these many years later, Andy Stanfield, second from the right, remembers the final pass-off.
Lindy, of course, is a very excitable guy. You know, I could look at him and see that he was nervous, very nervous. When he came around the turn, the Russian fellow was on the inside of him, and they were almost neck and neck coming in to pass the baton to me. So when I took the baton from him, I went to pull on it, and I noticed that he wasn't going to let it go. So it was very funny because, you know, even in track and field, that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing to happen. No one ever passed me the baton and refused to let it go. And I actually had to pull it. And when I pulled it, I slightly strained my arm. But after the race, I said to him, I said, why did you let the baton go? He said he was so excited, he was worried about whether or not he was going to drop it, or whether we might drop it between the 2 of us. And so he just got excited, and he just held on to the baton. But when I snatched it, he let it go, finally.
The victory platform ceremony takes place. For 3 of the American runners, it is their second Helsinki Olympic gold medal. Harrison Dillard, Andy Stanfield, and the man who didn't have a chance, Lindy Remigino.